fucking Nick was awesome, dude. And by Nick, as we keep saying Nick this whole time, we haven't even specified his work name at the time.
Mark Brown.
Mark Brown. Merrick Brave, as a lot of people may not know. But this whole time we keep saying Nick. But yes,
Stonewall, fuck it.
Yes, Nick Stonewall. Holy shit, SCW.
Yeah.
But
Nick and Keith forever, goddamn.
Oh my god. Aisle 9? That was right. This was their tag name.
Yeah,
Aisle
buddy.
9. Damn, dude. But freaking, it's just like the fact that Nick always had it up there, and I think everybody knew it. We all knew it. Nick always had the mind. He always had the mind. He just didn't have the physical gifts that Colby did. You know what I mean? Like, some people are blessed with. I'm not saying that Colby didn't fucking work hard, man. I mean, he fucking worked hard. Don't get me wrong.
Well, that's the thing. He had to work hard to catch up with the ring psychology up to the physical.
But I'm not just saying physically. Like, I mean, Colby worked hard physically, but like there are people who are blessed physically too. You know what I mean?
For sure.
That just. Dude, I was 150 pounds when I was training to be a pro wrestler, dude. You know what I mean? Like, anyways, we're segueing into when I started training, and
for sure,
Danny's guys already were looked at as assholes, and it was not Nick's fault. And I will say it, I'm sure Nick later on made himself into an asshole, maybe, but, it started off with Colby being dickhead.
But that's being a professional wrestler and having that machismo, it's expected.
But also having that confidence, dude.
Exactly.
Like, you hear in fucking, even in Sean's fucking stuff, like, Vince was like, I would have never let anybody else talk to me like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Talking about Sean.
Yeah.
But Sean had something.
Absolutely.
And that's the way it was with fucking Colby. No matter what anybody fucking says and, like, wants to talk shit about him, dude, he's always had it.
Yeah.
Since fucking day one. And all those fucking women and dudes we knew back in high school who fucking laughed at him. Who's laughing now?
Well,
honestly.
And that's the other thing. You see all these people on social media. It's like,
they're like, sucking his ass now. Yeah, like,
hey, my kid just held up a picture, blah, 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 had you in it and all this shit.
I've always been no, you weren't, you motherfucking liar. I went to high school with you. You all laughed at him. Nobody gave a flying fuck until he was on TV. Fuck you.
But, dude, now he's in the toy aisle.
Oh, yeah, right?
And
your
kid's like,
Toys
hey,
R
my
Us.
kid thinks you're cool. I told him I know you.
Yeah, when I brought Axel to fucking wrestling training not that long ago, he's like, because my grandma watches Axel all the time.
Absolutely.
Loves him. You know what I mean? Like, they're two peas in a pod.
Yeah.
So, grandma always talks about Colby, because grandma used to let him tan for free and shit down at the tanning salon.
Oh, I know him.
Yeah. So, grandma loved Colby. Colby even took his time to come see grandma when grandma was in the hospital one time, which I appreciate.
Absolutely.
I appreciate very much, because Colby's like one of my brothers, man. Like, we were real close for a long time. We're not as close now as we used to be, but, that's fucking life.
You get older, he's traveling.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I don't want to fucking bother him. Sometimes I want to text him and shit, but, like, I don't want to bother him, dude. Like, I know he's a busy guy.
Yeah.
And if any free time he has, I don't want to ruin his free time. So I'm be like, hey, man, what the fuck you doing?
Right.
Like, I don't want to do that shit. So
a lot of time in that instance, you feel like, well, I don't want them to feel like, oh, I wish I was doing this other than
that too.
I get the
you
same
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I don't want him to fucking. I don't want him to look at my text message and be like, oh, what the fuck's he want? You know what I mean? I don't want that.
Yeah.
So I don't do it as much.
Absolutely.
But I know, he's still one of my brothers, and I know he cares about what's going on in my life. Because obviously you saw the fucking video he put up for me and Danny. And,
for sure.
Which was unbeknownst to me until I saw it.
Yeah.
Which almost made me fucking cry, but I'll get out of that.
You
but
Sally.
I know I'm a fucking Sally. But, you know what I mean? Like, I've always thought of him as my brother. And all these fucking people sucking his ass trying to say they fucking supported him since day one. Fuck you. Not even his own mom believed in him until he was already there.
No shit.
Fuck yeah, even when he was in Ring of Honor, I don't think his mom believed in him. To me.
Yeah.
To me. He was still doing college stuff because his mom told him it was a good backup.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I mean, like, Cole Commander even told us to do that, too. So, I mean, you know, it's not, mom's not too far off.
Right.
But, like, you know, like, I don't really think a lot of people, like, besides like, his real true friends, as I call him a brother, you know, he was like, I was closer with him and Mikey and Brandon and Logan and Derek than I were with my own brothers.
Yeah.
They were like my brothers, man. So, like, I was closer with those guys than I were with my brothers. So, like, I knew so fucking long ago. Even when I fucking I hated him at sometimes. Right. You know what I mean? I'm sure he fucking hated me at times. You know what I mean? Like,
that's the brotherly bond.
This is exactly what it is, dude. Yeah. Like, I fucking...
Fuck you for right now, but in a week, come back.
Yeah, I knew for a fact. I knew. With watching him when he broke into Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
Which I will tote my own fucking horn. But I ended up on the total destruction of the Shield. I ended up, I said like two things. Right. I was like, to watch him in Ring of Honor flourish the way you did. That's exactly what I said. Yeah. And it ended up on the documentary, and I was like, oh shit, fuck, that actually ended up on there. That's funny.
Well, I remember seeing that as like, well, you see Colby on there, you see Nick, you see Shane. Holy shit!
Yeah, right.
I know all three of those guys.
And I was like,
yeah, we were flipping out.
I remember like thinking like that dude. I knew as soon as he got in Ring of Honor, it was a matter of time because I was watching things progress. I was watching, CM Punk got signed, and then it was maybe a few years later, Daniel Bryan got signed, and it was like, all right, shit's finally fucking starting to happen.
Right.
It's progressing. CM Punk started like a fucking trend.
Absolutely.
And I was watching it. I watched Colby rise to the top of Ring of Honor, and I was like, it's a matter of fucking time. I knew it was. It was a matter of time.
Just as fast as everything was progressing, like as fast as everything was coming together, it's like, wow, like he's already here. It's only a year or so out before he's jumping ship and going down to Florida, doing OVW, doing FCW, So I was watching that trip too and thinking like, if only I was on the inside, I wonder like what talks are being had, because I could only assume at that time they were already looking at him and he's like, they were already working stuff out.
It wasn't just them. Like Colby, it's in the documentary too. He was like, he had fucking made a phone call to fucking, he says another company, but it was TNA.
Yeah.
He had made a phone call, and they wanted him. They wanted him.
Well, I remember seeing something about he did a tryout match or a small match where he wore like the Iowa trunks.
Yep.
Yeah. I remember hearing about that and thinking like, oh, he might not be doing the WWE thing. Might be Impact all by itself.
Yeah.
So when I heard that he got signed to go down to Florida, I was like, I like that better.
Yeah,
I like
right?
that better. Yeah.
Because guys who come out of TNA right away, especially if they made it on TNA TV, it's a lot harder. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like WWE fucking, you know what I mean? Whatever.
Well, because I think WWE looks at it as at the time, they had to like steal wool the TNA out of them.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. Okay, so going from there, you went SCW.
Yep.
Did SCW. Strictly SCW for a while.
For a long time.
And real quick, another question that was posed to us by a close friend of yours. I won't dole him out or anything like that, but asked me to mention an event of SCW's.
Which one?
That may hold some special. I'll just get to it.
Yeah.
Epic 2. Epic 2
with Colby.
Well, I'm reminded.
Talking about my dad.
Yeah, there's somebody in the audience that was there.
Yep.
And you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. My dad had never seen me wrestle.
No.
Never, ever, and he was really sick. My dad battled cancer for like 14 years, dude.
Yeah.
It's a long fucking time, dude.
That's a long time for...
Long time.
Yeah.
To deal with any kind of sickness. 14 years, that's... And he worked his ass off still. You know what I mean? For the longest time, he was still working. One-legged man because he lost his leg. Still working. And my dad... to me, I always thought of like boot scrapers or like those guys who like fucking... They work themselves to the bone.
Right.
You know what I mean? They worked themselves to the bone. They wanted to do what is right by family. And that was my dad. Like, he always wanted to be there for anybody in the family and, you know, make them happy in any way he could.
Yeah.
And Epic 2, that was before, like, Colby had just started training with Danny at the time.
Right.
And he goes, hey, man, I want to have a good match. I want to do, we got a lot of time. And I had just watched, I think it was Daniel Bryan in Austin Aries, where Daniel Bryan worked every body part. Which, like, to us, it's like, what? And at the time, right. I thought it was, like, the coolest fucking thing ever. And if you watched it and you had, like, a long period of time, what's the smartest thing you could do? Wear down everything you can.
Absolutely.
And, like, Colby had hurt his jaw.
Yeah.
He had broke his jaw earlier that year. Mm-hmm. So I worked his jaw. I worked his shoulder.
Was that when he had it wired?
Yep. And he had also separated his shoulder that year.
Yeah.
Which things aren't, you know what I mean? These things aren't like being talked about on the mic.
For sure.
So broken jaw, separated shoulder, and I was working on his leg more than both of those. So I was like attacking everything that I could to try to beat him.
Absolutely.
It's like, to me, it's like, what would you do as a guy who obviously is physically insuperior to this man that you have to go against?
Yeah.
And we had built this story up of how he didn't want to hit me because he always like, oh, that was later on, never mind. But he always looked at me as just a little brother, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the whole time.
Yeah.
So how do I beat this guy who's obviously physically superior to me? I have to attack every weakness I can and then create a new one. Yeah. In my mind, that's the story I was trying to tell. Cabana and Danny both fucking hated it. Really? They hated that match.
Going into it or after?
Afterwards.
Really?
They did not like it. It was because it's a new way of thinking. It wasn't just one body part. It wasn't just one thing. They didn't know the story of... They weren't thinking of the story of the jaw and the separated shoulder and attacking something new that I had to attack because there was no way I could beat this man who was so much bigger than me. Right. So much more athletic than me. This is the story that I'm telling in my mind that I'm trying to, put out there. So, as the match is progressing, I remember after it was over, I was a heel. And I cut this promo. I was like, I don't give a shit about anybody here. Besides, I was like, it was just my girlfriend at the time. Yeah. Besides my woman and my dad sitting right there. My dad right there. And I said, my performance is dedicated to my father. It was the first time he had ever seen me. First and only time. Yeah. He got to see me wrestle. Yeah. So, I know that Danny didn't like it. And I know that Cabana didn't like it. And, if I got to sit down now, and dissect the match, there are probably certain things that I would dissect myself.
For sure.
But the story that I was trying to tell, to me, made all of the fucking sense in the world. Yeah. Man, separated jaw, separated shoulder, and I got to create a new weakness for him for me to beat him. Yeah. That's above level storytelling that, as a kid who wasn't even fucking trained at the time, right, was thinking like.
Right. So, and that's the thing, as a trainer, as a teacher, I would think that you would want your students to think like that. Think outside the box. Don't just think, we told you about A to B. Stick with A to B.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was still green, and there was still probably some stuff in there. They're like, oh, fuck, what the fuck was that? That they thought was... I mean, if I went back and watched it, I would decide... I would dissect it like a fucking...
Well, yeah, but hindsight's 20/20. Sometimes you realize, I put too much garnish on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's the story that I was trying to tell, to me, even still to this day, made